Hi, I have some new brushes for you. Mostly my old ones, but some new things kind of mixed in there for making the painting process way more streamlined. I had way too many brushes in the past that were just kind of overloading it. I mean, they're all kind of not here anymore. Basic round brush, that comes with like most packs. Round brush solid without opacity and pressure. The mixer brush, I put it right in front. I just took this thing, put it right in front so we can mix stuff and blend things super easily. All the settings are already set exactly how I paint it right up here, and it can reset every time, because if you have a different brush that's the mixer brush, like the Kev brush, you can do this and then clone stamp things into your painting with the texture. It's still the mixer brush, but it doesn't act the same way. Both are there. And we have the airbrush and plenty of painterly looking brushes. We go down here, we get more towards texture brushes, scatter, splatter, scribble round. This is a good one for implying a lot of foliage behind trees or texture on some kind of textured surface, so on and so forth. Anyway, they're totally free. Go ahead and have some fun with them. To sort of demonstrate how these can be used, I'm going to make a quick painting that you can follow along. We're going to be using a grid technique. You know what? For the sake of this assignment, or for the sake of this demo, we're just going to do a basic subdivision. That's just connecting all the points that already exist. We have 4 points, these corners. Got 1, 2, all right. Oh, this brush is particularly cool because it goes from foreground to background depending on how hard you press on the thing. So if you pick red and you lightly press, you get a mix of the two, and you press harder, it goes towards blue. We could say that you can go horizontal and vertical. If I did this right, that would have been in the exact middle, but that doesn't matter. And you keep going, connecting these dots, and you're just creating these X's. This is going to give us some very basic scaffolding. We're not going to get into dynamic scaffolding or 3-point grids or 4-point grids or all the other stuff that I'm going to talk about later in different videos. So you could do this with whatever brush you want. We're just using it as a scaffold. And behind it, we're just going to lay in a blue with either the fill tool, or you could brush that down if you want. We're going to grab the painterly brush. What is it? Bristle, round bristle 14. Pick the color that you have back there for the sky. This is the sky. And we're going to just make it a little darker and then go up either towards magenta or down towards green. Either way, we just want to shift the hue so we get nice variance. Otherwise, it feels a bit monotone. So it's going to lay in a, let's say, brushwork there and just fade it out by selecting, by holding Alt. Not here, not up here. Definitely not there. Somewhere in the middle so that we get that middle value. You keep doing that until it's nice and smooth. Or you could just grab that first mixer brush situation and just blend it for a nice gradient. We got these points of interest that we can't see anymore, and set that to multiply so we can see it. And we're just going to dance around them. We're going to let the grid define where our clouds are going to go. So we're just going to put a blob here, another blob there. It just won't do it. If you come across this problem where you put down a blob or a brush stroke and you're like, why won't I keep going? It's because I'm on the mixer brush. I totally forgot. Another frustration. So I click something that already has the regular brush, then go back to this. All right, cool. So you put a blob at one point, one intersection, maybe another one here, another one there. This is super easy. No problem. Now we're going to vary the sizes of them. We're going to say that maybe this one's way bigger, and let's let it connect to that one. Why not? It's going to define the quadrant in that region, as in it's going to connect with the center. This one, we're going to make a foreground cloud, and this one we're going to keep it kind of small. And this one, maybe we'll keep it small, but it's going to look huge because we're going to put that way in the back distance over there. And I didn't have to come up with any kind of specific reason for why we're putting them here or there. We're just playing. We're just going with the flow and seeing what happens. Now, if we lock the transparency on this and we pick that cloud color, we could either go halfway to black to create a shadow. For example, halfway to black, shift the hue again. That creates a shadow, just like the Apple assignment that's free on YouTube, which is also present in the first Meds map. You just find the halfway color and you blend in the shadow side of these shapes, these forms. We lost all the cloudage back there. And from there, you can mix them with the mixer brush over here. Super easy. You're just blending the two sides, taking care not to overblend because then it gets super muddy. Oh, I forgot to mention, I locked the transparency on this. So whatever I do on here is not going to escape. Right now I can blend everywhere. Nothing happens in terms of breaking the silhouette. But if I turn that off and I do that, it drags it out. Now you might want that. Maybe you want some of that action to happen. Turn that off. All right, it's not that great of a scene. That's fine. But we can play with it a little bit more. Maybe make this even bigger so it overlaps that one. Let's let it go across the whole scene, at least towards the bottom left. If you don't feel like switching to the mixer brush to blend, sometimes if I lay down the shadow side, I'll select this and very lightly go across it like that, and do it again and very lightly until it looks blended. Cool. Let's introduce maybe a horizon line. We're just going to follow the line that is already here and use the airbrush, a lighter color, and just kind of go across like that. Just going to merge everything down. Why not? Then we're going to push those clouds further into the background using a new layer. Set that to lighten. Grab one of these light blues. Definitely not this dark one. That won't work. This would kind of work. Let's see. Now it looks like these clouds in the foreground are closer to us and the ones in the background are further away. But I think it's too much, so we're going to lower the opacity on that lighten layer. And go ahead and grab that mixer brush. And in a moment, we're going to have fun with some of the other texture brushes. So far, we've only used a couple of the brushes. I'm just picking a bunch of little areas that feel like they have too much noise like this and just giving it a squiggle, a little nice blending squiggle. Let's go ahead and talk about bringing attention to a focal point. I just duplicated the whole thing, gonna make it brighter using levels, taking that, dragging it this way. Now I could make it look warm by using a brush and lightly painting yellow over the whole thing, or ochre, amber, whatever you want. Or you could take this copy, hit Control B, and just bring this yellow slider to the left. It'll add a little bit of yellow and everything. And if you want, you could add a bit of red too for a bit of an orange or magenta situation. And play around with it. There's no one right way to do it. But I want it to be a little bit warmer for the area that we're going to, put light on. And so we're just going to use the grid that we were given. And we're going to use that line. Okay, so that's going to be our guide. Go ahead and press Alt and press the mask. And anywhere I paint white on this mask is going to reveal what we just hid. As in, let's just write hello. Hello. If we do it bigger, it reveals more of it, right? So that's the idea of how masks work. So we're going to take that idea and just do one brush stroke from the top left to maybe right here. So top left, doing this nice little sun ray thing. It's going to stop right there. And I want it to be blended out. Luckily, we have this mixer brush. This mixer brush also works on this mask. Let's see what the mask looks like. That's what the mask actually looks like. You can see that by holding Alt and clicking it. You can turn it off to see what it actually does to the painting. But we're going to take that mixer brush and just on the edges of that mask, blend it and see what that looks like on the actual mask. It's just blending white and black together, making it nice and smooth. Bring that back to see how it looks. Let's turn off that grid because it's distracting. Let's make it more of a fun tone, maybe something like orange. Set that to overlay and pull down a little bit on the opacity. Add some yellow. Now the fun part. It's not that hard to say that there's the light side of something and the shadow side of something. You could say this is obviously light side. No one's going to argue against that. This is obviously the shadow side. Nobody's going to say it's not. If they do, I don't know why they're saying it. But since we know there are two separate sides, they're extremely easy to locate. So easy to locate. We can define the border between them. And if you can scribble, if you can write your name in a silly fashion, this next part should be super easy for you. So in that border between the dark and between the light, we're just going to do a nice little scribble. We're going to scribble across just the borderline. Okay, it could be any color you want right now. It doesn't matter. We're just getting a nice little scribble. You could even little secret message, hello kitty, hello. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. Let it be abstract. You can do that over here. And later we're going to do a clipping mask into this. And this is just a quick way to get the illusion of form going. All right, so that's on its own layer. Lock the transparency. And you could just pick a color that already exists here and just fill it in. And some of them should be darker. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, something like that. Like a kind of darker color of what already exists on the page. And then put it to 0. 0 opacity. It's like, why? We just put in all that work. We're going to creep up slowly towards maybe 10, 15% just to see how that form reads when you're a little bit zoomed out. So we're going to go from 0. We're around 17. Now it's got a little bit of form. When you squint, it looks like there's little subtle turns of the cloud. We're going to go towards, I was wrong. I thought it would be around 15, maybe 28%. Yeah, that looks good. Now, if you go too far, it just looks like floating shapes, which is, fine, but a little bit too stylized for me. Going back to, what was it, 20 something? We'll do 36. And then you merge that down, and then you go again. You grab that mixer brush, and you go back to those squiggles that you just made that we now flattened. You do the same thing. You give it a little nice little squiggle, blend it in. And you could do this infinitely, wherever you want, and you keep creating detail until when you zoom out, it looks like a finished piece. But the process is so straightforward. Okay, I'm softening some of the edges on the outside. And now we just do a bit of fun painting. Make a new layer. Gonna grab this, it's the texture brush. And we're going to go on to the outside edges of these, and we're going to just carve into them like they're clay. We're just taking this nondescript information and making it defined to say, okay, the actual silhouette of that cloud right there looks like that. And I'm kind of abstractly going in there and spelling out the silhouette, kind of making it bubbly and lumpy here and there. Ooh, we're bringing up some bounce light into this. Let's just blend that bounce light right in. And this is an incomplete piece until you have birds or bats or airplanes or hot air balloons or UAPs. Anyway, I've already shared too much. I've gone too far. But this is just a quick way to show how to use these brushes on a very simple painting of blobs, and we're going to call them clouds. Enjoy the new brushes. I hope you signed up for the mailing list so that you're notified when we do launch the epic next course. Thanks for watching.